So, what do you think are some of the simplest yet hardest things to do as a business owner? Well, Emily's going to share some insights for us on that.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
Hey, Giant Builders. Happy Tuesday. I'm so glad you are spending some time with us. My guest today is Emily Hawkins. Hi, Emily. How are you?
I am great. It's so nice of you to have me. Thank you.
Oh, well, I feel it's a pleasure to have you here. So, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So, my name is Emily Hawkins, and I am a fractional COO. Most people have no idea what that is, but I help small businesses with their people, their processes, and their systems. And I was in the working world, the corporate world, I should say, for 15 years. And I've been in my own business I'll be in my eighth year in April. So I'm really excited about that. And so I have over 20 years of experience in operations, working for Fortune 500s, the likes of Walmart and Target, all the way down to, like I said, small startups. And it's just so fun. I absolutely love what I do.
Well, give me like an example of what you would help somebody with.
Sure. So you have a podcast, and this podcast is amazing and wonderful, and it starts to take off, and people want you to create more episodes. And you're like, well, I could create more episodes, but the editing tool I use isn't the best, and the way I kind of put this together isn't the best. And so with someone like me, we would talk about, well, what do you want this to be? How many episodes would you want to put out? We would look at softwares. Maybe the software you have is great, but you just need some understanding of different ways of using it. And we'd even talk maybe about hiring someone to do the editing for you, to write up the scripts and, all the transcript pieces and all the show notes, so that you could really streamline the process to give your audience more of what they want without you being the bottleneck, because we as business owners are typically the bottleneck. And I mention all of those different things, but with most of the businesses I have, we utilize what they already have. So we better utilize the system that they already have. We better utilize the team that they already have. In most cases, I'm finding ways that they have over purchased their software, or sometimes they've hired too many people and we have to let someone go. But I end up finding money for these businesses, making them more productive and more profitable. So it's just a couple of examples.
I like that, finding money.
Exactly. Because I would say in this world, we're all about making money, right? Like making money, go make the sale. I think that's incredibly important. But what I want to do is help you keep more money. So I want to know that when that money comes in, it's not just going right out the door for all those people, processes, and systems. And I also want that same person that gave you that dollar, that $100, that $1,000, that $10,000 to give you more money, because to get a customer should be the most expensive thing. To keep a customer should be easy. And so a lot of the things we work on is really getting that repeat business because it's so important.
It sounds like you help people go from owning a job to owning a business.
100%, a
Yeah.
100%. That's exactly what we do.
So when you get to a point when a business owner gets to a point of like, I think I need this, it seems like it would be just extremely overwhelming. Is there some steps that you take to help people get over that overwhelmed point?
Yes. And most business owners, when they come to me, are overwhelmed. And I know we've all heard this phrase, and it fits here as well. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so typically, what I do, the first session that I have with any client is a diagnostic where we really walk through all the areas of the business. I want to know about your people. I want to know what's the biggest headache for you. I want to know what's happening on a daily basis that's just driving you crazy. I really want to know the bad. And people are always like, I really love what I do. They always try to preface it with all these things. And I'm like, I have no doubt you would not have invested in somebody like me if you didn't love what you do. but I don't want you to feel drained every day. So typically what I find is a running theme, and there's something in their business, and it's different for every business, but there's something in every business that's the main thing that if we fix that, then it actually starts to fix everything else in the business. And again, like I said, this could be people, this could be processes, it could be your onboarding, it could be your communication, it could be just some of these smaller things that we think are, oh, well, we don't have team meetings. I don't really tell the team because I don't want to worry them. Well, if you're not telling them anything, then they worry because they don't know anything at all. And so typically there are about 6 different facets that I look at when I work with businesses, and then we focus on one. And I say, let's work on this one area. It will start to improve a lot of things, and then we'll move to the next big block, if you will, because it's really important to do it in the right order.
So are there any tips to like selecting people to be on your team that's going to be those high performance type people?
Oh, I love this. Okay. I don't know. Are you married or
I
like
am.
really,
Yes.
it's a really personal question, right? Uh,
No, I love to tell people I've been married for 40 years.
okay. I love that. And what works for you and your husband and the communication that works for you is probably different, or maybe it's the same, but I bet it's a little different than my husband and I. And I've been married for 17 years. And does that make your marriage better than mine? No, not at all. It's the same with businesses. And I think what happens is we think, oh, that business has these types of employees. So I need to go find that type of employee. We might even go on to those websites of those companies and copy their job descriptions because we're like, that's it, right? That's the person I need. That's how I want to run my business. And then we start interviewing people. And first of all, we look for people like ourselves. Oh, she likes coffee like I do. And oh, she's funny like me. And oh, she's kind of quirky. I love that. You'll notice that none of those qualities actually have anything to do with what you would hire someone for. They're just people you enjoy to be around. And so a lot of us are hiring people that we enjoy to spend time with. A business is not a friendship circle. It's great when it is, but so there's a lot of different things here. The first one is I want any business owner that's listening to this, after they listen to this episode, to go and make a list of what they want in an employee. And I call this your dream employee list. So, what kind of conversations do you want to have? What do you want to have them work on in your business? And how do you want to feel when they work on it? I did this a few years back when I was struggling in the corporate world and didn't know how to lead people. And what I realized was the reason I didn't know how to lead people is because I was just expecting the right person to just show up at my door without me doing any of the work in terms of specifying what that was. So I ended up locking myself in my office at work, sitting down in front of the computer, opening up a document, and I started writing things like, they will never be late. They will never do blah, blah, blah. And I looked at this list and I was like, well, this really isn't a dream employee list. This is just things I don't want. So I deleted everything in this document and I started doing exactly what I was mentioning before. I wrote down conversations we would have. How would we interact? How would they push me as a leader? How would they make our team better? And all of a sudden, I had 2 pages of just gold of what this person would be. And then I took that and I teach everyone that I work with how to write a great job description. And I love AI, by the way. So I give you the structure. We take your list, we put it in AI, and we write your job descriptions because that's your person. That is the person that you specifically need for your business. And then we take it a step further because where also this can go wrong is how you onboard them. Most of us, what we're doing is we're like, oh, I found the person. Okay, you're just going to know this because you've done this for 5, 10, 20 years. No, they don't know how you do it. They don't know your acronyms. They don't know how you speak, what your emails are like. And so there's a really nice, I'd say at least 30 days, where you have to teach even the greatest person on earth the basics in your business. And you have to make sure that they understand, what does success look like to you as the business owner? How do you like things done? Now, 2 months in, you want that person contributing and asking you questions. What if we changed this process? What if we did it this way? Now, that's a great employee, right? But it's only because you loved and supported that person in terms of getting them up to speed, spending the time with them. And most of us forget to do that. And so that is really part and parcel of what that looks like. Going back to the marriage, though, I don't know about you, but in those 40 years, I bet you that you have told your husband, I love you more than just on your wedding day, right? Like a
Oh,
couple
yeah, a few more times. Yeah.
few more times, right? And if you didn't, people would be like, that's a problem in your marriage, right? You need to constantly share how much that person means. And maybe it's not I love you, but it's in actions and gifts. And, if you've ever read the five love languages, well, your team is no different. So just because you hired them and you are paying them money does not mean that for every day after that, they're going to feel loved and accepted and like they're a part of the team. That is a constant reiteration of, you matter to this team and here is why. Maybe it's they're a gifts person and you send them a little gift card. Here's some coffee on me for doing a great job. Maybe it's personalized gifts. Maybe it is a bonus. But I would say a lot of words of affirmation are important. And also, when you give them tasks, why you assign them those tasks.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you an example. Like, Lois, you're really good at, you're really great with people. And so when I was putting this task together, it mattered to me that this was yours because that special touch that you have really matters here. So here's a new task that I need you to do. That's way different than just, here's some work. I need you to go do this. And we just have to remember that with our employees, right? If we want to find good people, we have to specify what we want. If we want to keep good people, we have to onboard them correctly and we have to tell them that they're valued either monetarily. And I even hesitate a little bit monetarily. That's fleeting. Whereas those words and those actions mean so much more. Pay people what you value them for, but long term, make sure you're using your words.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you got to support them in the actions. But like as a business owner, so many times we're like putting out fires, and sometimes we just don't feel like we're making that progress. What advice do you give to those leaders?
So, what you are talking about is reactionary
Mm.
versus proactivity. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you that if you have fires to put out, that there's something wrong with your business. Every business is going to have a random fire here and there. Firefighting and being reactive is going to happen. I just want it to happen like 5% of the time. And 95% of the time, I want you to be proactive. Now, if you are a business owner right now that's chronically putting out fires, it means your business is in chronic reactivity mode, which probably means you're in proactive mode 5% of the time, and you're in that reactive mode 95% of the time. This can be corrected. It's something I do every single day with my businesses, but I will tell you, it's like trying to catch a moving bus. You're like, I got to get on that. It reminds me of like San Francisco, like running to get on the trolley, because you could just jump on the back or something. You can do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's a lot of work that you have to do to start with to right that ship. And the first thing is connection. Absolutely connection. And what do I mean by that? You got to tell somebody. You got to just verbal, I call it verbal diarrhea, just verbal diarrhea to another soul, another living soul that will not freak out, by the way. It's got to be somebody who's calm. That's where I come into play. I always say I'm a catcher. I'm a catcher of all the diarrhea.
Oh,
Um, that, and
well,
it
that does
just,
not sound good.
no, it doesn't. But what happens is um, they give me all of this, and then I'm able to say, all right, here's where we're going to start. Here's how I can help you. And here's how Sarah on your team can help. And here's how Fred can help us. If you are not connecting with somebody, sharing like, oh my gosh, there's all these things and I don't know how to fix it, it's never going to be fixed. It's just going to swirl in your mind. So connection with the right person is really key. I do recommend some sort of outside person, such as myself, or another, business coach of some kind, only because they have an objective point of view. When we share too much with our employees, they start to freak out, like, am I going to lose my job? And is the company going under? And you don't want to do that. And so I really recommend connecting with someone like myself to really just share all the things that are happening so that you can parse it out and decide what matters most. And from there, you can say, okay, ooh, this one system is causing the brunt of the issues. Let's streamline this system. That will cause a lot of these fires to go out. And then we can move on to something else because you're going to get more white space in your day. But that's really first and foremost is you got to get it out of your brain and you got to give it to somebody objective.
So do you have a tip of like something that a business owner can maybe do this week to improve their operations or their team?
Oh, I love this question. Such a great question. And with every business, I've worked with hundreds of businesses. I will tell you that the majority of businesses, when I talk to the employees, because I talk to everyone, most of them are like, I just don't know what's needed. I don't know what's needed. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the overall plan is. There's an I don't know factor. And as a business owner, the lowest cost thing you can do is share those things. So I recommend, and I love one-on-one, if you have a Slack channel, sending a little Slack message, hey, I just wanted you to know that you matter because you're helping us do this in the business. You're helping us increase, client retention. You're helping us get leads and actually, build our marketing and build up our sales. Really reaching out to each person on your team and connecting with them and communicating with them as to why they matter and how they fit the vision of the organization. If you did that this week for about 10 days, you will see a giant jump in productivity. Why do I say 10 days? Because you got to put some feet on those prayers that you just put out into the world. And the feet are when you reach out to them and you share those things, you want to open the door to ask them what would make their job easier. And when you do that, all of a sudden, you've got your list. You've got the items that really need to be focused on first. And maybe it's if you're a brick and mortar business, the toilet's always clogged. Call a plumber today. You will be shocked at how far that goes with your team. They'll be like, oh, they listened, they cared. And then you'll get longer than 10 days. But the first thing you can do is just let everyone know how they fit and why they matter to your business and how they would like to be better supported. And that really could start that train pretty quickly.
It seems so simple, but why is it so hard?
Whoops, excuse me, because we're business owners and we are thinking 10 steps ahead always, right? So we're like, oh, well, if I have that conversation with Sarah today, then I guess I could have it with Tim tomorrow. And then next week, they're going to expect me to have that solution. And then I've got these other things. And we just start like piling all of these to-dos on our plate. And I will tell you, overwhelm is scary because it actually breeds inaction. You don't do anything. And when you do nothing, well, nothing happens, right? And so a lot of business owners are afraid to start anything like this because they're already thinking 10 weeks down the road. Oh, I don't have time to continue this. I don't have the money to go, do blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because it's an assumption thing. It's an assumption that you have to continue to do anything. It's an assumption that your team wants more money. It's an assumption that they want you to go out to lunch with them every day or whatever you think is going to cost time and money. And when you do these small things, like I'm saying, like have this small conversation, you will be blown away at the small, insignificant thing that you can do for Carol in accounting that will change her life. And my mom used to say when I was a kid that there's nothing that a phone and a checkbook can't solve. And I still find that to be true, not a checkbook. I can't remember the last time I wrote a check, but I feel like a phone call and your credit card, you can send somebody something on Amazon. You can buy them flowers. You can send a note to someone. But that phone call to me, even a Zoom meeting, can really just change the game. And so that's something I lean on periodically is if I just had a phone book, my phone, not a phone book, my phone and a credit card, what could I solve? Because it shouldn't always be money related, but if somebody, you've got somebody you're in your accounting department and they need stamps, you can send them stamps, if they're not local. So I really do think that advice is important.
Oh, that's great. So, well, Giant Builders, I'll have some links above and also in the notes for other podcast episodes that we've had that might relate to this, and as well as links to reach out to Emily here so that you can have that. Any closing thoughts?
I don't want any business owner to think that any of this has to be hard. I love that you said, this is so simple. Why don't we do it? I want you to know as a business owner that you have everything in your business and in your brain already that you need. Sometimes you just need a voice of reason to say, you've got this, organizing it and methodically doing it so that you can get back to what you are doing, which is serving your community and serving your team. And that's really what it's all about. So you have everything you need.
Great. We just need somebody to hold our hand once in a while.
Yes, I love that. Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Well, thank you, Emily. I really appreciate the insights. Just kind of like you said, being a business owner, sometimes you're just so overwhelmed that you don't see the simple things that you can do to make life better and better for your company.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right, Giant Builders, thanks for being here. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.